Thanks everybody for joining us today. Welcome. My name is Sean Schwartz. I am the Director of Marketing and Sales Strategy here at North American Steel. I also just want to give a quick moment for our other presenters, Mr. Mike Guernsey and Buddy Lane, to introduce themselves to you as well. So Mike Guernsey, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. My name is Mike Guernsey. I've been working with North American Steel for the past year in a dealer sales representative role, and I'm excited to go through some of the benefits of knockdown racking with you today.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Buddy Lane. I'm the sales manager for our technical sales division at North American Storage. My main responsibilities are to manage the sales reps in BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and growing our factory direct business and support our very strong dealer network. I appreciate everybody taking the time today. I know everybody's busy. I hope everybody's doing well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. Let's move forward. All right, so for our agenda today, we're going to cover some information first about North American Steel. We'll give you a brief introduction about who we are, what we do, some of the people that we work with, to give you some background if you're not already familiar. From there, we're going to move into some information about North American Steel knockdown racking, what it is, what are some of the advantages, features, benefits. From there, we're going to move into some of the cost-saving elements of our knockdown racking line. And finally, we're going to finish off with the advantages of knockdown racking repair kits, something I'm sure many of you are interested in learning about, as I'm sure most of you have dealt with having to deal with racking repairs and replacements in the past. So who is North American Steel? To give everybody a bit of a background, if you're not familiar with NAS already, we are a leading Canadian manufacturer and end-to-end service provider of pallet racking and industrial storage, industrial shelving systems. Our head office is located in Whitby, Ontario, which is roughly 30-40 minutes east of Toronto, if you're not familiar. We were originally incorporated all the way back in 1952, and we were a subsidiary of the Steel Equipment Company of England, which was actually established all the way back in 1898. However, the company was acquired by the Fabricius family, who are still the current owners of the company, and they acquired the company all the way back in 1972, which makes 2022 North American Steel's proud 50-year anniversary under current ownership. Currently, North American Steel operates with around 400,000 cumulative square feet of manufacturing and warehousing distribution capacity across 6 full-scale plants and distribution centers around Canada. Our manufacturing and warehousing distribution locations are in Colborne, Ontario. That's our largest manufacturing facility in Canada at about 175,000 square feet. Whitby, Ontario, where our head office is located, we're operating at about 93,000 square feet of manufacturing and distribution. Another facility in Nisku, just outside of Edmonton, Alberta, we have another 52,000 square feet of operations. Mississauga, Ontario, we're sitting on another 30,000 square feet of distribution and manufacturing. And in Vancouver, British Columbia, and as of 2021, Calgary, Alberta, each with about 25,000 square feet of operating capacity. So as you can see by the timeline on the right, North American Steel has been continually and steadily improving and expanding over the years to expand our operations across Canada as well as across North America. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we are not just a manufacturer, we are an end-to-end service provider. And when I say end-to-end, I'm talking about from the very earliest stages of a development of a new warehouse, a distribution center, etc., all the way until the product is manufactured, delivered, installed, and then serviced into the future. North American Steel covers all of those bases. So in terms of services, we offer internal, so in-house, first-party engineering and design services for all of our clients. In-house project management, we oversee the racking installation, we handle all the material handling, obviously many different product solutions, custom product solutions. We also offer safety inspections, repairs, maintenance services, the whole 9 yards. So when customers work with North American Steel, they're bringing in a partner into their operation that is going to support them from the earliest possible stages, even when the building is still being designed, all the way until the system and after the system is installed. In terms of who we service a very wide range of industries and a very wide range of businesses, from distribution centers, cold storage facilities, 3PLs, outdoor storage facilities, retail logistics centers, general warehousing, across many different types of industries and businesses, whether it's automotive, food and beverage, the medical supply industry, and the list goes on and on. You're welcome to visit our website at naseco.ca to view a more exhaustive list of industries that we do support. Chances are we will be able to support you no matter the type of business that you're in. In terms of our supply capabilities and what we offer from a product standpoint, we're proud to say we have one of the most vast product line offerings and system offerings in the industry, both in Canada as well as across North America. We design, engineer, manufacture, and install everything from standard selective and double deep pallet racking, VNA, very narrow aisle systems that are specialized, cantilever systems, pushback, more dynamic systems like drive-in, drive-through, pallet flow, carton flow, even larger storage platforms such as pick towers, mezzanines, catwalks, which can be shelf supported, structural supported, and we also even build rack supported buildings, which are not as common of a solution, but for some businesses a very welcome addition. Additionally, not listed here is our wide variety of product lines that we're capable of manufacturing to build these systems out. So we manufacture everything from North American or ready rack style of roll formed racking, American teardrop styles of racking. We also offer structural steel racking, not just roll formed. And obviously this presentation today is about our Knockdown line, our bolted line of racking, which is becoming more and more popular in Canada. So to build upon the point I was making earlier about the very wide range of industries that we support as a company, here's a small handful of clients that we work with and have worked with in the past, which really illustrates our broad reach and our versatility in terms of who we're capable of working with from a client standpoint. You'll see everyone from prominent clients in the automotive industry, BMW, Mercedes, Toyota, food and beverage. We've got Saputo, we've got GFS, Gordon Food Services, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all the way to large retail chains like Home Depot and Walmart. So chances are, no matter what industry, no matter what type of business you're in, our team is going to be able to support you with your pallet racking and storage requirements. I'm now going to pass the presentation along to Mr. Mike Guernsey, who is going to discuss some general information about the North American Steel Knockdown racking line.
All right, good morning, everyone. Knockdown racking, also known as bolted racking, is the most commonly used style of racking worldwide. In North America, however, welded racking is still king, with bolted racking making up ground with regards to market share each year. One key advantage that knockdown racking has over other types of racking is its versatility. North American Steel offers bolted racking in both 3 1/4 inch and 4-inch columns to meet most capacity requirements, and these are available in both 13 and 14 gauge steel. Knockdown racking is extremely customizable, and this can be a huge advantage for customers. So if a customer's capacity requirement initially was, say, 2,000 pounds per pallet, and as their business changes and evolves, the capacity requirement increases, the knockdown racking solution can be modified to handle increased capacities. And to kind of break that down for you, our typical knockdown racking solution features a 48-inch bracing pattern. So if the customer's capacity requirements increase over time, the customer can, utilize or purchase additional bracing. So, we can go from a 48-inch bracing pattern to a 24-inch bracing pattern, and this will allow consumers to utilize the racking that they've already purchased, and as their needs change, they can reuse the system and further reinforce it to handle the increased capacity requirements. If we compare this to welded racking, a customer who has welded racking and needs the capacity to increase over time, in that case, they would need to purchase new frames and, kind of go from there. So knockdown racking offers a great advantage in that regard. Knockdown racking is also interchangeable with any existing welded racking, that a customer may have in their warehouse already. So if they'd like to add on, or as their business grows, if they have a welded solution already in place, they can take advantage of some of the benefits of knockdown racking, such as the improved lead time, and when they're adding on to their warehouse as they grow, can benefit from that. As Sean mentioned, there's a couple of roll form standards out there, and in Canada, North American rack, or the Ready Rack compatible design, is very common. It's definitely the most common. Where in the US, the American teardrop standard, which is also roll formed, is more common. So one big advantage North American Steel offers in this regard is that both American teardrop and North American or Ready Rack compatible style profiles are available through us. Knockdown racking is also an excellent choice for high seismic zones. We have a few of these throughout Canada and in the US. Some examples can be in Canada, Quebec, as well as British Columbia. These higher seismic areas require frames which are capable of flexing in the event of seismic activity or earthquakes, and the bolted frames offer this capability. When we compare that to welded frames, on the other hand, welded frames are far less forgiving in the event of seismic activity, and unfortunately some of the welds and structure can break. So, that's a big advantage for any high seismic areas that the knockdown solution offers. Knockdown racking also takes up less space in our warehouses as well as our dealer network, and as a result of that, the lead times are often shorter. So this can be obviously a huge advantage for anybody who's looking at moving forward with a racking solution, but may not have extended lead times to work with. And when we talk about the benefits of knockdown racking, I wanted to also bring up a common objection that we run into when we're offering knockdown solutions to customers. And that common objection is that customers can be concerned sometimes that these bolts could come loose, or in their minds they think that they can. And I just wanted to kind of mention that our bolts and our nuts are nylon locked. So once they are secured together, you don't have to worry about anything coming apart. If you could move on to the next slide. So knockdown racking offers a lot of different options to the end user. A lot of people think when they think knockdown racking, they're thinking of your sort of standard, selective, sort of simple, straightforward solution. But knockdown racking is not limited to these type of solutions. And the knockdown racking solution is very versatile. Modern warehouses utilize multiple different types of racking systems to satisfy diverse storage requirements. And knockdown racking can be designed for use in standard selective, in double deep systems that's compatible, and actually a very good option for the B&A or the very narrow aisle type solutions. But it's not limited to that. It's also compatible with more complex systems, including pallet runners, pallet flow, carton flow, catwalks, as well as storage platforms. So really the options are limitless when we talk about knockdown racking. The key advantage with regards to selective pallet racking and double deep systems is quicker lead times from factories. It's also easier to replace some frame components when damage inevitably does occur. And the knockdown racking solution offers all these benefits and does so with similar capacity capabilities as a welded solution. For B&A or very narrow aisle racking, trucks, the lift trucks are typically wire or angle guided, and this helps to reduce instances of damaged racking. So knockdown racking is an excellent solution for the B&A type of a scenario, as welded posts and bull noses are not typically required, which helps lead to shorter lead times and can be an excellent solution for that type of a system. If you could switch to the next slide, please. So we wanted to show you some examples of the different types of configurations, and this slide here is a project that we worked on in Arizona. Due to the distance from our plant to Arizona, obviously knockdown racking offered some unique benefits. And if you kind of go from left to right, what you'll see on this slide is you've got a double deep back-to-back system where knockdown racking was put in place. As we move to the right, you'll see there's a single deep selective system back-to-back with double deep. The next few kind of illustrate different back-to-back scenarios in a selective environment. We move over to illustration number 8 there, you'll see an example of a single selective that's tied back-to-back with row spacers to a pushback system. All of these systems that you see here were put together and sold to the customer in Arizona utilizing our knockdown solutions. So we really just wanted to illustrate that, knockdown racking is not limited to your standard selective environment, and that as, even these more complex systems, whether it's a pushback system like you see here, or pallet flow or pallet runner, knockdown racking is capable of being used in all of these different types of environments. I'm going to pass it to Buddy now to handle the next few slides.
Once again, good morning, everybody. Today, my portion of the presentation is to quickly discuss some of the cost savings and advantages of our NAS knockdown racking options. So first of all, next slide, Sean. Sorry.
One second here, buddy. I'm not sure what's happening here. Okay, there you go.
There we go. So cost savings of the knockdown racking system. The nice thing is it's equivalent strength at a much lower cost. Here are some of the key points that I'll be touching on. As knockdown racking end frames, bracing is not welded. Costs are saved, of course, on the manufacturing side, which means there's less labor incurred when there's less welding required on the components. Knockdown components also offer, there's less steel usually when you're manufacturing these. Sometimes it requires a bit more depending on the application. Although knockdown is often available at a lower cost, it's mostly equivalent to the strength in comparison to a welded racking system. As well, you incur some lower freight costs, especially on some long hauls. So basically, to expand on some of those points, knockdown end frames are typically made up of components that are bolted together and require no welding, and most times require a lot less steel. The labor that's incurred is usually a lot less, so costs are saved at both the manufacturing facility or the factory, and as well there's a much quicker production timelines in most cases. The end frames can also be assembled at the factory floor, or they can be shipped knocked down and assembled at the project site. So depending on the application and the customer's requirements, both can be accommodated. If you're shipping the components knocked down, freight costs are much lower. The material can be assembled on site, as mentioned. So the freight costs, the advantage is the material can pack a lot tighter in a lot of the trailers. So there's less trucks that are required or ever needed. So basically, although the cost savings of the knockdown versus welded, you experience the cost savings, but there's never any compromise or reduction in any of your capacity load ratings. Next slide, Sean, please. I'm going to talk quickly about some of the advantages of the knockdown repair kits. So typically they're quick and cost effective. Repairs with knockdown racking can be done more quickly and cost effectively than the welded racking systems. You don't require any type of spot welding, which incurs lower costs and offers a much faster turnaround time with much less downtime on your bays. It's also easier for the engineers to approve bolted racking repairs versus the welding repairs. So to expand on those a little bit, repairs can be done basically a lot quicker and while on site. You don't require any type of welding or certified labor rates associated with an experienced licensed welder. You would usually have spare or extra parts at your location, whether it's columns or bracing, which results in a much faster turnaround and less downtime for locked off or damaged bays or rows. The components bolt on and bolt off very quickly, and it's easy to assemble or disassemble while on site. Engineering costs are much less because it's easier for them to approve. You don't have to physically go and have a look at a weld, check the spot weld, etc. So when you're considering knockdown racking, all things considered, bolted and knockdown is a much more cost-effective racking option that doesn't compromise capacity of load ratings, and it also allows you quicker production timelines and deliveries. Savings are experienced on all aspects of the project, whether it's in the material, the freight, or the installations. Go ahead, Sean. So this brings us basically to the end of the presentation. So we'd like to thank you collectively as a group for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. Below is our contact information for both our Eastern and Western offices. Yeah, I mean, if we can, we'd like to open up the floor. If anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask, we'd be more than happy to try to answer them for you. Has there been any questions sent in at all, Michael?
You know what? I have a question here. One sec. You guys hear me okay?
Yep.
So I have a question here that asks, is there a maximum height available with your knockdown racking?
Okay, I can take that one, Sean. Technically there's no maximum for a height restriction, but there is some factors that contribute to deciding on the height. So basically there would be a manufacturing or production limitations. So depending on the factory or the plant, depending on the specifications or the capabilities of the paint line, that would determine one aspect of a height restriction. As well, it's usually application or project specific. So the engineer would basically gather all the necessary information and complete an analysis that would establish the best and safest frame design. Some of the things they consider is seismic areas, etc. So we can typically do, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but I think we're in that 38 to 40 foot range with our paint line.
Yeah, that's correct. I know on the eastern side here, our limitation is currently about 40 feet, and it has to do with paint line more so than the product itself. And we're constantly working on improvements with regards to production to try to increase that. So we're around 40 feet now, but we're working hard to try to increase that paint line capability.
Perfect. A couple more things here. Got a comment. Love your racking here at IKO. Well, thank you, IKO, for joining us today. And we've been really happy and fortunate to work with your team. So we really appreciate that. We have another question here. What do your lead times look like right now for knockdown racking? I think maybe Mike and Buddy, you would both answer that on each of your ends.
Sure.
Yeah, so I can kind of speak to that. Sorry, buddy, to cut you off, but I can speak to that on the out of the Eastern office. So, I mean, you know, depending on how projects come in and when orders are placed, this can change. But as it stands currently, we're sitting around 10 to 12 weeks roughly for lead time for our bolted racking.
And currently, right now, out of our Western office in Nisku, we're sitting about a month longer than that. We're about 12 to 16 weeks.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys. Let me see if there's
one thing I should touch on though too. You know, that we do, you know, we do sell direct to consumer, but we also have dealer networks that stock some of our products. So depending on, you know, the size of the frame that the end user is looking for, it may be possible for us to turn that around more quickly if it's sort of a standard sized frame.
perfect. Okay, just gonna wait another minute or so, see if any more questions come in. Let me see here. I believe this may have been, this was addressed in the presentation, but maybe we can do a quick refresher. But how do the capacities of knockdown racking compare to welded racking generally?
They're typically equivalent. You don't really compromise any type of load or capacity ratings at all when you move from welded to knockdown.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, I think that's all we have for now. I believe, Michael, do you want to cap us off?
Yes, thank you, Sean. I'd like to thank our participants, Mike, Buddy, and Ross as well for sharing their expertise today. And thank you to everybody for listening. Please note that we, as well, you should receive a recording of today's presentation in your inbox in the next couple of days. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or if you don't see the recording in the next little while. My email is michael@supplypro.ca. So that concludes our webinar. Thanks again for listening and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.